So, when you think about retirement planning, what's the one big question that always comes to mind? For most of us, it's pretty simple. Did I save enough, right? But what if I told you that's only half the story? The biggest threats to your financial freedom, they aren't actually about the total amount you've saved. Nope. They're about a handful of silent, sneaky risks that can quietly erode your income and your peace of mind over time. Okay, let's get into it.
This quote right here, man, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? After decades of working and saving, the whole point is for life to get simpler, more secure. You're not supposed to feel like you're walking on a tightrope every day. And that is exactly what this is all about, building that rock-solid feeling of stability. All right, so how in the world do we find these hidden risks? Well, the best way to think about it is that we're going to run a leak test on your retirement plan. Just imagine your whole financial life is this big, complex plumbing system. It might look perfectly fine on the outside, but there could be these tiny, quiet leaks. A slow drip from inflation over here, a little crack from unexpected taxes over there. And over many years, those little drips can drain your resources without you even noticing. So let's grab our tool belts, because our job today is to find those leaks and patch them up together. Now, what's the fix? Well, this slide frames the whole idea perfectly. On one side, you have a brittle plan. This is the kind of plan that's counting on just one single thing to do all the heavy lifting. Maybe it's one big stock portfolio. If that one engine stalls out, the whole thing just breaks. But a resilient plan, that's totally different. It's a system that has backups built right in. Think of it as having different buckets of money, one for your non-negotiable bills, another for life's surprises, and a third that you just leave alone to grow for the long haul. Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to start by identifying these silent leaks, and we'll group them into three main categories: risks related to time, risks of timing, and risks in the very structure of your accounts. Then, we'll wrap it all up with a simple checklist so you can start building your own resilient plan. All right, let's dive into the first set of leaks, the risks of time. These are the slow burn pressures, the ones that don't happen overnight but just sort of creep up on you over a long retirement. And honestly, that's exactly what makes them so dangerous. So the first risk is actually a result of some amazing news. We're living longer, which is fantastic, of course. But a 25 or even a 35-year retirement creates a huge financial challenge. Longevity risk is exactly what it sounds like. It's the danger that your money runs out before you do. It means we're not just planning for income to age 85 anymore. We really have to stress test our plans to age 95 or maybe even 100. And here's where longevity risk gets even trickier. A lot of us have this idea that our expenses are going to plummet in retirement. And yeah, some costs do go away. You're not commuting anymore, for example. But take a look at the seesaw here. While some costs go down, others, and these are the big ones like healthcare and home support, start to weigh much, much heavier over time. They can easily tip the scales and put a ton of unexpected pressure on your savings. The second big risk of time is inflation. And I know we hear about it in the news, but in retirement, it's a completely different animal. It's the silent math problem that's constantly working against you. Even a little bit of inflation can absolutely shred your purchasing power over 30 years. And what's worse, the costs that tend to go up the fastest, healthcare or long-term care, are the exact things retirees need the most. A fixed income stream can start to feel like you're giving yourself a pay cut every single year. So does your plan have these leaks? Let's check for a few red flags. Do you have any guaranteed income other than Social Security? Are most of your income sources flat with no adjustment for inflation? Have you ever stress tested your plan to see if it holds up to age 95 or beyond? If you're shaking your head at these, you might be a bit more exposed to the risks of time than you realize. Now for our second category, the risks of timing. And this is where things get really interesting, because it turns out it's not just what happens to your money, but when it happens that can make or break an entire retirement plan. This brings us to one of the most misunderstood dangers in all of finance: sequence of returns risk. Think about it. When you're young and saving money, a market downturn is actually a good thing. It's a buying opportunity. But when you're retired and you have to take withdrawals to pay your bills, a downturn can be absolutely catastrophic. Selling your assets when they're down just to live on permanently shrinks the base of your portfolio, and that makes it incredibly difficult to recover, even when the market eventually bounces back. And this slide just illustrates the point perfectly. Take a look. You've got two identical portfolios here. Path A gets lucky with good returns early on, and those withdrawals are totally sustainable. But Path B gets hit with a nasty downturn in just the first couple of years. And here's the wild part. Even if they have the exact same average return over the long run, Path B might never catch up. It's all because it was forced to sell from a shrinking pot of money right at the start. It really is all about the timing.
The other risk of timing is liquidity risk. You know, life happens. The roof needs to be replaced, the car dies, a family member needs some help. So let's make this real for a second. Where would you get $20,000 for a surprise expense tomorrow? If your answer is, well, I'd have to sell some stocks, then what happens if the market is down 20%? See, being forced to sell good assets at really bad times is how a small problem can quickly become a very big one.
The solution here is surprisingly simple. It's a bucket system. You just keep 12 to 24 months of your planned expenses in a safe, liquid cash bucket. This is your buffer. It allows you to pay your bills from the cash, letting your long-term investments grow peacefully, completely insulated from all the market drama and your own emotions. All right, finally, let's talk about the risks hidden in the very structure of your accounts. These are all about the how your accounts are set up, how you withdraw from them, and how they'll eventually get passed on to the next generation. A lot of people are completely shocked to find out that taxes can become their single largest expense in retirement. It's this crazy domino effect. It often starts with required minimum distributions, those withdrawals the government forces you to take from accounts like 401ks and IRAs. Well, those withdrawals can then push more of your Social Security into the taxable zone, and in some cases can even cause your Medicare premiums to spike. It's a triple whammy. So, the defense against tax risk is tax diversification. Instead of having all your money in one type of account, a resilient plan spreads it across 3 different buckets. You've got your tax-divert accounts, your regular taxable brokerage accounts, and your tax-free Roth accounts. This gives you control. In any given year, you can choose which valve to open to manage your taxable income and avoid those unexpected and very costly tax spikes.
So what are the structural red flags here? First off, are all your eggs in one tax basket like a traditional IRA or 401k? Second, when was the last time you actually looked at your beneficiary designations? Are they gathering dust in a file somewhere? And finally, does your family have a clear treasure map to your assets, or would they be lost if something happened to you? These aren't just small financial details. This is about protecting your loved ones from a world of stress and confusion.
Okay, we've identified the 6 major leaks. Now, let's bring it all together and turn this knowledge into action with a quick self-check to see how resilient your own plan really is.
So here it is, your resilience scorecard. Let's do a quick check, just yes or no. Number 1, do your guaranteed income sources cover your absolute essential living expenses? 2, do you have that 12 to 24-month cash buffer? 3, are you coordinating withdrawals across your different tax buckets? 4, are your beneficiaries up to date and simplified? And 5, do you have a realistic plan for long-term care? If you can answer yes to most of these, your plan has some serious structural integrity. If not, that's okay. You now have a clear list of leaks to go patch. And let's end on this powerful idea. Good retirement planning isn't about having a crystal ball. It's not about predicting what the market's going to do next or when you'll need a new roof. It's about building a plan with guardrails and flexibility, a resilient system that doesn't break when life happens. It's about creating a structure that lets you respond intelligently, no matter what the future brings.